So hi, Katie here. Yeah, so today I'd like to talk about male Terfs, or actually gay men who are Terfs in particular. Um, Now, I don't believe that anybody who is genuinely gay, a gay man, is transphobic. So, because I think what motivates a lot of the anti-trans sort of hatred with a lot of these people, like Simon Fanshawe and Artie Morty, or was the other one? There's like loads on Twitter. I don't believe that they're genuinely gay because I believe what motivates their hatred of people who were trans, or specifically trans women, because it always seems to be trans women that they hate, is and trans men as well, is the fact that these guys are not really gay. Um, because what happens is they may think they're gay for so long, and then when a trans woman comes along, um, and she might sort of, still have a penis or keep her penis, they find themselves attracted to the trans woman. So what does that say about them? And they're just trying to suppress it. I mean, when you bring this subject up with them, they get really, really defensive and start coming out with all the ad hominem attacks and stuff. But I mean, I've had them say to me, "Oh well, you only seem to think about sex. It's a problem with you, isn't it? It's a problem with your sexuality, you're frigid and all that kind of stuff, Which to me is basically misogyny. So I mean, basically, these guys are like, I think what it is, we present a sexual threat to them. They see us and they find that they're attracted to us, and they can only explain that away by saying that we're men. And the thing is, like, if you don't know what's in somebody's pants, and but you see them and they look to all intents and purposes female, and they are female in my belief. Trans women are women, trans girls are trans girls. Then if you're attracted to them, and when you know they've got penis as well, that's kind of, they're not really gay, because they're actually into, they're thinking, what does this say about me that I just found a trans woman attractive? So yeah, I mean, that's what I think. But and I mean, I don't really get male Terfs anyway, because I mean, what is the difference between the guy who shouts abuse at us from a passing van and somebody who's middle class who talks abuse about us at a dinner party in Islington somewhere? I mean, I really, really don't get these guys. I mean, I think, you know, they're just trying to intellectualize their bigotry. I mean, people like Graham Linehan, I mean, he he is obsessed with trans women in particular. I mean, that's all he ever tweets about. That's what he's become known for now. And to be that obsessed with one group of people, to the extent that you think it's the most important sort of issue in the world, and to sort of literally go around and harass trans women on Twitter, and kind of actually go on to Newsnight and say that you think people having gender reassignment surgery, that's as bad as Dr. Mengele experimenting on children during the Holocaust. It's and even the presenter, who I believe was Emily Maitlis, she was really shocked, and she's actually a TERF. So even the TERF was shocked at Linehan's obsession, with trans people. And yeah, and like people like Simon Fanshawe as well. I mean, he he markets himself as a diversity consultant, but I mean, I would imagine the slogan of his company would be, "You can have any diversity as long as it's not trans." I mean, that guy, I remember that guy when I was at university, and he actually came to entertain us twice. And the first time he didn't, he didn't get booed. The second time, he actually sort of stormed off because a group of lads in the rugby team actually started, I think they were drunk. I wasn't there actually, but I heard about it. And and he wasn't funny then, and he's not funny now. I mean, he's just kind of like stuck up, and I think you can tell with him that it's obvious that he sees trans women and he thinks, oh, he's attracted to trans women, and that kind of like threatens his sexuality then. I mean, I'm not saying that he's not attracted to men, but I'm saying that he's bi rather than gay. Um, but he's built this identity for himself, a bit like lesbian women, or the minority of lesbian women who don't like trans women, who are part of the Terf kind of movement, if you can call it that. It's sort of they, when they, they'll see a trans woman, they think, oh, she's attractive. They won't know she's a trans woman. Then they'll find out she's trans, and they'll just kind of panic. Oh, what does that say about me? But it just says that you're a lesbian, because you found a woman attractive, and you didn't know that she was trans. Maybe you don't like that. Nobody's forcing you to like trans women. I mean, like, good example of this kind of like assumption that us trans people are like would do anything to have sex with a cis person is I used to belong to a lesbian and bi group on Facebook, and I didn't really. I mean, my friend who's lesbian and she's trans, she kind of invited me to it, so I thought, okay, I'll do that, so that she's not the only trans girl there, and anyway, all of a sudden, this big argument, sort of couple of months after it was formed, and I'd heard bad things about this group, and my friend said, oh, they're all Terfs, and I thought, maybe not, maybe like some of them are Terfs, but most of them aren't. But anyway, one day somebody put a post up on the page, and I think it was a trans woman actually who belonged to the group, and she said, would you ever date a woman with a penis? And so a lot of them, well, not, like I say, about like 60% of them were saying no, and all this, and then they started coming out with all this transphobic stuff, and I posted on there to say, oh, well, I think you can be a woman and have a penis as well. Trans women are women. I put that on there, and they absolutely pounced on me. And then I just left the group in the end because it was so horrible. And I said, I'm leaving now. And so anyway, one of my friends, because I belong to another lesbian women's group, lesbian and bi women's group, and she said, and this group is much friendlier, and my friend belongs to it as well. And again, I joined because my friend joined and sent me an invite, so I didn't want it to be lonely. And she, and they're really nice people in this group. And the person who started this group, she's kind of like the like moderator on the other Facebook group, and she said to me, oh, do you know what so and so said about you? And she kind of like sent me a screenshot, and it said, oh, so and so, I forgot the other girl's name, who's trans, and Katie, it's been some very interesting debate here, but I would never consider either of them lesbians. And I thought, well, I never actually said that I was a lesbian. I just said that I never actually said what my sexuality was, and I mean, as it happens, I'm bi, but, I thought, well, I'm not a lesbian, so, which is quite funny, but she assumed that I was desperate to be a lesbian, but I'm not a lesbian. My friend is, but I'm not lesbian, I'm bi, and I wasn't there for, like, dating somebody anyway. I was just there because my friend was there, and I thought it would be an interesting group to join, Um, so yeah, so it just shows you the assumptions people make, as if I was there ready to get in the knickers of all the women there, and no, I'm not interested. I've never actually had a relationship in my life. You know, I'm a virgin, so I mean, I genuinely am a virgin. So yeah, so that's kind of like with the male TERFs, you know, I mean, I think a lot of men get more threatened. Their sort of like sense of sexuality and gender is more fragile, you know. Somebody once said that to be, for a woman to gender non-conform, she really needs to put more effort into it to gender non-conform, because a woman can wear a suit and tie, but where, you know, if she's got like a sort of, you know, kind of makeup on and like, you know, sort of like hair ornamenting or something, or lipstick on, then she's still seen as feminine. Like Marlene Dietrich, for instance. You know, Marlene Dietrich would wear men's suits, but she was still unmistakably feminine. But for a man to gender non-conform, all he has to do really is wear a pink scrunchie in his hair or put nail varnish on, and then it's it's the talk of the town, and people are thinking, oh, is he trans and stuff like that, or you know, and I think, you know, that with men, they tend to still be very guarded about their gender and their sexuality, and that's hence the kind of extreme reactions from males like Glinner and also you know, Simon Fanshawe, and you notice it's a lot of the masculine type males as well who were kind of against trans people, you know, what they would call straight acting, inverted commas, back in the day. I don't know what the term is now, but yeah, so I mean, that's all I wanted to say really. I mean, I don't think if a man gets threatened about trans women and doesn't like us, it's usually to do with the fact that we're a challenge to his sexuality, because he's not afraid of us. He's not afraid that we're going to beat him up, because, you know, I mean, and a man would never admit to being afraid of, you know, being beaten up by a woman anyway. And not least a trans woman. I mean, we're seen to be by a lot of men as the weakest of the weak, you know. I mean, we're like a sort of, to them, we're like an effeminate male and a, you know, really feminine, ditzy, blonde, bimbo, all wrapped into one in their popular imagination, although we're not really like that, and those are all stereotypes, with like sexist kind of sort of undertones. So yeah, I mean, that's all I wanted to say really. So, and this LGB alliance, I actually think it's ridiculous, because L, I mean, well, that stands for lesbian, G stands for gay, supposedly, but B, I mean, I've yet to see a bisexual person who was a member of that LGB alliance, and I think what it is that bisexual people aren't transphobic, you know, because they're not as hung up or sort of like set in their ways about sexuality, as some of the transphobes who are. I mean, if a bisexual person is, well, I just don't see, you know, because I mean, we're not a sexual threat to a bisexual person, because they'll be like, well, whatever, you know, I don't know. But there we go. So that's what I wanted to say, and this video has gone on a bit, so please leave in the comments below your thoughts on this, and perhaps you could tell me of any experiences you've had where guys have got funny with you and stuff and got really aggressive when they found out that you're trans, or any experiences you've had on the internet with guys who are transphobic, like Linehan or Simon Fanshawe, or even kind of just generally, you know, because there are a lot of idiots out there. So yeah, so stay safe everyone, and love you all. Bye.